Hey guys, it's Victoria. Do you want to make some homemade cereal? This cereal is so delicious. Like I've mentioned before, I have a lot of food intolerances and allergies, and it is so hard to find good products out there that cater to all the different things I can and can't eat within a month or whenever. So I've had to learn to make a lot of my own things, including healthy cereal. So you can buy similar cereals in the grocery store, but I find that they're always filled with sugars that I don't like. So I've kind of like been experimenting with a few different recipes, and I found a winning one that I think you guys are going to love. So for this recipe, you need to bake this cereal on very, very low. So I have my oven set on 175, and so it's going to basically like almost dry it out, and you need to have it in there for, I like to leave it in there for a few hours. Sometimes I'll even make it and just leave it sort of overnight. But let's get started, and then you guys can actually add a lot of things into this as well if you like. So you can kind of experiment with it your way, and then let me know how you guys like your version of it. So I'm going to make the basic base version of it that is very allergy friendly. So we're going to be using oats. We're going to be using almond flour. Now, instead of the almond flour, you can actually just use rice flour, regular flour, whatever kind of flour that you like, or you can even just not even use it. But the purpose of the flour, it gives it a little bit more of a crunch and a clustery texture to it. So it's completely optional. I'm going to put in some flaxseed. I have some coconut brown sugar and some cinnamon, and my favorite thing in the world, which is pure maple syrup. It's the healthiest kind of sugar that you can consume on a large amount. I find everything else is like, don't have it too much of this, it causes that. Don't, you know, there's all these restrictions with all the other sweeteners, including honey, because you're not even supposed to have honey more than a couple of tablespoons a day. So really good for you, but you can't overuse it and then have opposite effects of what it's supposed to do. So let's get started. So I just have a bowl here, and it's super easy. You're just gonna add everything right into the bowl. Nothing fancy. There's my flax. I also have a little pinch of salt. Again, it's completely optional. I kind of like the salty and sweet flavor of things. There's my cinnamon. It's about a teaspoon. I'll put up the recipe, the amounts for you guys. And then I have 2 tablespoons of my coconut brown sugar. Again, you can substitute it for a different kind of brown sugar, or you can just leave it out altogether. I like it because it gives it a little bit extra flavor. So I'm using that. And then I have a half a cup of pure maple syrup. Get that right in there. The cereal is so delicious, and you can make it and you can freeze it. It lasts forever in the freezer. If you're going to leave it out, I would suggest finishing it within a couple of days, but I strongly suggest just sticking it into a freezer. I'm just mixing this up. So the way that I hang on to mine is in a glass Tupperware container. After it's done and it's cooled down, and you know, we'll kind of go through that, then I just kind of stick it in the freezer, and it lasts for so long, and it's fresh and cold when you put your milk in it. So yummy. So again, I'm a very texture kind of cooker and baker. I'm really learning to measure and be able to tell other people how to make my recipes, which has always been challenging for me because I just kind of make things as I go, and it always turns out great. And then people will ask me, you know, how I made it, and I genuinely can't remember the exact ingredients. So this is really good for me too, because then I can actually pass my recipes on to people, you know, now when I'm actually having to measure and keep track of what I'm putting in here. So the texture is kind of like this. It's kind of flaky, kind of sticky, not super sticky, not, you know, not super watery. So there it is like that. So now this is the fun part. You can add in whatever you like at this point. Almonds are delicious in here. Walnuts are delicious in here. Any types of seeds, fruit, you know, dried nuts, dried fruits, cranberries, anything you like in those super expensive cereals that you buy in the health food aisles. You can make your own combination, and this is so delicious. So I'm just going to transfer this over to a baking sheet, cover it with some parchment paper, and I'm going to bake it for a few hours until it's nice and dry. And then I'll show you guys what it looks like once I take it out. So also, as I have my oven warming at a very low temperature, I'm actually going to make clotted cream as well. If you guys have never had it, or if you've had it and sometimes it's hard to find right now with COVID, I find it's really hard for me to find some of the gourmet products that I like. So I've resorted to making a lot of my own. So I'm going to be making Devonshire style clotted cream. So, because that goes in the oven for a long time as well. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be doing that right after this because I'm having a beautiful high tea party this week with a couple of my friends, and it's going to be such an amazing treat, and I can't wait to treat my friends and show you guys how to do it because you have to have high tea. It's so much fun. So, okay, I'm gonna let you go. I'll flash forward to when the cereal is done, and I'll show you how I store it, and then stay tuned for the Devonshire cream because it's so yummy. Okay, see you guys.